Super Dave here with another exciting special review as we're going to look at a super robot. His name is Mazinkaiser. That's the best pronunciation I can find of him anyway. And this is going to be a cool action figure. I wanted to get him because he's so cool looking and he has awesome articulation. And just taking a quick look at the box, you have a pose there on the top, same pose on the bottom, a special little shadowy view of his face there on the sides. And that's about it. And then on the back, he's got some poses of all the different features that he has, including that awesome throne, which is another reason I wanted this guy. And as usual, even though this guy is based on an anime, all I know is it's based on an anime where he was created in a lab and found to be one of the most powerful super robots created. But as usual, I'm going to be using him in my MOTU classic story, and I think I'm going to pair him as an evil guy in the realm of robots from Robotos, like Roboto's homeworld, that is an evil bad guy that's going to be against my Ava 0.1 and Ava 0.2, and also during King Grayskull's time period. That's right, I'm going to use him during King Grayskull's time period. I'm thinking about even maybe having Galen Nycroft or Modulok. This is before he became distorted with his experiments, having multiple limbs and heads. This is when he was in his regular form, that I believe he's going to have something to do with creating this super robot to combat the planet Preternia and Eternia against King Grayskull. That's going to be kind of my backstory for those that are MOTU Classics fans. But for those that just want to see a review on Mazinkaiser, you're going to enjoy this video by itself. So come on, let's break him open and check him out right now. And first of all, come with me into this cave and let's check out in this secret lab where our Mazinkaiser was built, the super robot was built. Let's go inside this secret laboratory and see what is actually going on back here. Oh wow, so we have some people working on computers, getting things together, discussing things. Oh look, Mando's even here with a child, Mandalorian. There's Ava back there. So there must have been a lot of robots built during this time period in this lab. Wow, just check it out. Isn't this cool? Yep. Some sweeping going on here. Just really, really cool looking setup. Welcome to this really cool high-tech space looking laboratory thanks to extreme sets and diorama-prints.com and extremesets.com and bigbadtoystore.com, and then the ubiquitous sets here. So this is going to be our setting to take a look at our Mazinkaiser figure. So let's break him open the box. I'm going to switch to the above screen now. So let's open him up. Let's break open the box and check him out. Go ahead and open this side. Let's just see what all is inside of this box. This is going to be exciting. So we're going to look and see what is in here. I'm not sure. Okay, so we have a box. First thing inside of the box. So let's go ahead and set that to the side. I have an idea that might be the throne, but let's go ahead and pull out. I think here's what we've been looking for right here. Yep, there it is. There he is. Really cool looking front shot there and above shot there. So let's go ahead and check this out and set the box to the side. Of course, we pop open this part here. That is the cover. And the first thing we see is he comes with a sword. Another sword. Got little crystal, look at there, just like red little jewels on the butt of those swords. He's got a handle attachment, some little small piece here. Wow, don't want to lose that. Put that right here in between those two swords. And there's that little thing, and I believe this is the device that allows him to store a rocket ship, some kind of, like, I'm going to call it a drone, in the top of his helmet. And then it's able to come out and fly. That's what I'm going to pretend anyway. I think that may be the actual storyline behind it, but I'm not sure. And then there's the little wings that can attach to it, I believe. And then look at this prize. Check out that awesome looking sword. Wow. He's got, again, that clear jewel red ruby on the bottom, as well as a really neat design with that Z of that sword. That is just really, really awesome. And we'll take a closer look at these. There's another attachment piece of some sort there. We'll find out what that's for. Let's go ahead and remove this so we can take a look at the wings here as well. And so there you have this kind of like the jet pack that goes on his back. Then these wings with the translucent plastic. Really cool. And then there's his hands. So we'll take a look at those in just a moment, setting that to the side. But let's see if we can get him out of the box here, out of the plastic. And wow. As you know, this is made of die cast and plastic. There's definitely some nice weight to him, and he is just really cool in hand. There's absolutely no fist attached, so that's going to be something we'll install here in just a moment. Before we go to the front cam, let me just go ahead and open this box, and there it is. Wow, this is so cool. This is one of the things that I really was excited about, and that is that cool looking throne. Check out that throne. That is just so neat. And so we'll set that right there, and of course put it all together. Let's zoom in a little closer here to everything, and let's look at our Mazinkaiser. Alright, so as we're back here inside of the lab, let's take a closer look at our super robot Mazinkaiser and check him out as we're looking at scanning around the lab here. And here he is. Let's go ahead and first take a look at the hands that he comes with. And he comes with these grabbing hands, or sword holding hands. It's one of the sets of hands that he comes with here. And so these are neat. That way he can hold the swords that he comes with perfectly and can get double-handed sword motion, which we'll look at that when we get to the posing and articulation. And this next set of hands is an open palm set of hands, and they look really nice because he'll be able to get a lot of good poses with this, and fighting and doing his special stances. Open palm grappling looking hands as well. And then you see that he has installed right now those fisted hands as he's spinning around there on the display stand. Two other accessories are these two double blade swords, or bladed swords, double-sided bladed swords, and they are really cool looking. And they have on the tips, again, that really neat jewel, very cool looking, translucent, ruby looking jewel on the tips. And also you can unplug those, and you can plug in this little small device here, which allows you to plug the other end of the sword together, making it a double bladed ended sword. Really neat for him to hold on to. That is really cool. Or you can also use this device that it came with, this golden handle, and plug either end of the sword into that, and then you have almost a staff-sized sword, really long sword. So that's really neat. So you have several options that you can go with there. Then unplugging those, you can just simply plug the ends back into the butt of those swords. You have two individual swords which can be stored in the throne, which we'll show you in just a moment there. Isn't that really cool? So those swords are just really nice looking swords, and we'll take a look at them installed on him in just a few moments. And the next weapon and accessory comes with is this giant sword, which again has that translucent at the butt here, And right here at the hilt has another translucent jewel with the letter Z in there. And one of the things that's really cool about this that I have discovered, I learned about this Mazinkaiser robot, is if you'll take a look at his chest plate here, you can actually detach that. This comes off of his chest, and in theory it transforms into this sword. So it elongates, it expands and becomes this sword. And so when he's holding this sword, you would unplug this jewel here and be able to, and that also comes out, that pegs out as well. Just found that out right then. So let's see if we can get that back in. There we go. It goes right back in there. And so you see there that that jewel is the same size. And so it becomes, when he's got this sword in hand, then you'll take that out. So when you have this sword out here, that's going to be vacant on his chest, which leaves a really cool place. So there's the idea here, is he's got that. And then when this sword goes back into itself, I guess, and transforming back into that chest piece, then you'll be able to plug this special jewel with the Z right back in place there. And there's his sword. Instead of it being stored on his back or something, it is actually stored right there in his chest. So that's pretty cool. And the next thing that our super robot comes with is this cool little jetpack that will plug into his back, and it has the holes in it to be able to plug in the wings that we'll be looking at. So those wings in theory would just kind of jet out of this, materialize as almost like laser type wings that materialize. And you see the thrusters, which are really nice touch, really nice detail on the back. That's really cool. And so there is your jetpack with the thrusters, and that's really cool. So he's got those, and of course there's the plug-in part there that'll plug in his back. Really nice. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. And then we have these large set of wings, which are really cool. They have that translucent plastic with almost a mechanical look in the background behind the translucent plastic pegs that will peg in to his back. Once we get ready to install all of this, that will be ready. So that is really cool. So you see those, and then on the back of that same translucent plastic back there as well. Really, really nice. Catches the light, looks really cool, almost has a metallic look because of that clear translucent plastic that goes over those other mechanical parts back there. It doesn't really do it justice on the camera. It actually looks a lot neater in person, so just really cool. And then finally you have these other two little wings that go along with the larger wings that will plug into the lower part of the backpack, and these are really neat as well as the peg holes, and they also have that translucent plastic. But unlike the other, you actually can see all the way through these. I believe you can tell that. You can see the robot back there in the background and the lighting back there, so you can actually see through that translucent plastic all the way through. So really cool looking effect there, and these just, I don't know, just really rock and roll you know, kind of just really cool looking wing effects. Zooming on in here to take a closer look at our Mazinkaiser robot, super robot. Let's look at those translucent bat-like wings on the front, which have almost the mechanical looking, again, gears in the background with the translucent plastic there. And then on his helmet, you see he's got some metallic silver and some metallic gold coming out the sides, along with that, what I'm calling a drone type little shuttle that comes out of his top of his head there. And as it comes around, look at those yellow eyes surrounded by almost war paint colors, with almost a transformer looking mouthpiece or night mouthpiece, and then that jewel, which is kind of like the cockpit, I guess, of that drone. Look at these shoulder pads here, or these shoulder armor. He's got the little red translucent jewel that's inside of that gold chamber there, a little plastic silver piece on the back of that thing. You see a pretty plain looking black colored back there. He's got that jewel again inside of this one on that side also. course, the removable jewel on the front that becomes his sword that we mentioned earlier here. And then he's got a metal belly here. The torso is metal. This upper body is plastic. There's some metal parts in the lower body as well. Let's take a look at some of those vents and grills and different indentions along the side of his arms. He's got a pretty plain looking midsection or pelvis area. Got some gold around the bends of his elbow there. And again, some black and gold and silver mixed and red trim all the way around this amazing looking robot. You see that silver metallic look that goes around his gauntlet or his blaster here is a part of his forearm area, or this part that becomes a blaster, and we'll look at that in just a moment. That's silver on the front part of the shoulder as well. And again, he comes down to these legs, which again, you have some nice indentions and creases and different things that are going on here that just look really nice and robot looking. And check out these legs. They're very black in the boots area here. And then they've got this really neat design of this circular motion and silver trim that gives it some depth there on the inside of the boot, I guess we call it, and the outside looks really technological and robot-like. So those are really neat. And then his feet there, which are very simple, but really nice design. We'll look at that in articulation. But there you kind of get an idea of this robot from head to toe, and he's very impressive indeed. Very neat looking. It's going to go really well with the space outfitting set here, as well as my Avas. Again, kind of going along with Roboto, as well as my Avas as part of what I'm going to make probably is part of King Grayskull's era, which will be really neat. Taking a look at the Super Robot's articulation, let's zoom on in here and look very closely at his head articulation first of all here. And it will go from side to side before it kind of scrubs there on those bottom fins. It doesn't scrub as bad on this side as it does on that side. It begins to touch there on the side, but he'll go pretty good. He does get head pivoting. It's fairly loose. He can go all the way around there with the head. He can look down till he touches that chest piece there, his armor. So he looks down a good amount, but he's not able to look up terribly high. But that's a decent amount before the helmet hits the back of the armor in the back there. But you are able to see the peg when you do rear back that far with his head, but not too big of a deal there. So that's really nice. But again, that head gets amazing head motion. You can pop that head off and you see the kind of design there that's on there, and then there's just a simple ball peg area around on the inside, so you can pop that on, and then that gives him plenty of head motion. Moving on to the arms, he's able to get a full 360. Of course, he's able to come out better than 90 degrees on the side there, so that shoulder joint moves this way and this way with the upper arm hitting the armor there, the shoulder area. He does have true bicep swivel, if you want to call it that, with a robot. He does also get double jointed elbows. Amazing. Check that out. Double jointed elbows, and you see that actually works pretty well, actually executes pretty well for a robot. Looks good. Bends out straight. You have that gold metal area on the inside, and then that bends all the way in, so he gets amazing, I mean, that comes in all the way. You don't get better articulation, elbow joint motion than that. Then you also are able to twist here at the elbow as well, and then you're able to bend that straight, and then you're able to pop this out, which would be a simulation with that fist, of that fist flying to give some kind of jet thrusted punch. And then of course that would come right back to where it needs to be. in succession with his joints and everything, if I can get it back in place here. And the way you can tell that you've got it lined up right is there's a little crevice right there where that diamond-shaped elbow kind of joint goes right in there, and then you know you've plugged it back in the right location, but you have to plug it in at the right location for it to work. Okay, going on to the wrists, he's got, instead of it being at the peg where you change the hands, which there's a ball point, there's a ball joint there as well, you have a ball joint right there, and you see the little silver trim there, and it does rotate so that you can get back and forth or up and down motion from that ball joint in there. So it's not incredible amount of movement, but it certainly looks neat. It's very different from anything I've ever seen in an action figure before. That very subtle silver lining almost gives it an effect like there's actual, you know, hydraulic type, I don't know, gears going on to make all this work. It's really cool, the detail that has been given to the plastic to give it that look. And the same goes for this side as well. Let's move these arms out of the way and go on to the torso here, and you see that the torso gets a good range of motion just holding the belly here. So you can see it goes all the way around that metal torso. This part right here is metal. I don't know if you can hear it. So he's able to lean to the left, lean to the right, bend forward about that much, bend back only, well, not really much at all on that part of it. But then you have this part below, and by the way, these trouser type, you know, the pelvis area is a floating piece. It floats in there so it doesn't get in the way, but that part is able to bend slightly forward. So if you put them both together, he's bending forward about that much. And then if you bend him back, he gets a good amount of back bend with this pelvis bend there, as well as adding that to it. So you see he gets a good amount of bend backwards as well. So that's excellent. So you get that, and you do not get much of a turn there, but you are able to turn this upper section up here, and so that suffices for that need right there. So that's really cool. Moving on to the legs, he is able to get full splits. He's got these very unique ball jointed legs coming out from that pelvis in a way where he's going to be able to move those in any direction, because they do swivel at the upper part of this, what you call the robot thigh, into that ball joint. So his legs are able to bend all the way around like that. So you're going to have plenty of motion there. So he can go out to the side, he's going to be able to go out to the front, he's going to be able to go back all the way. There's actually a clicking that you can hear as he gets into each of those gears, and so you have a range of motion there. He only has single jointed knees, but they do very well, as you can see. No complaint there. They go up all the way. Matter of fact, just to give you an idea of how well he is balanced and able to maneuver his weight, you can see right here with that leg jacked up all the way. That is excellent right there. You can see that really works well. Works really good. Very well balanced all the way around. So that's cool. And of course the same for this side as well. He'll go all the way up. You have to maneuver that the right direction. Try not to break that pelvis, because that is a floating plastic piece under there. But there you have, oop, try not to break that. That's kind of cumbersome there. You don't want to get that in the way too much. There you go, pop back into place there. But you'll be able to maneuver those legs and get a lot of different poses from that. As you can tell, just really amazing ability. Very good posability, articulation. And moving on to the boots, and again you can hear that ratcheted joint movements going on. And then there's also a motion back here, so that allows that part right there to fold in, the back of that leg part to fold in here. As you can see it moving right there, so when it bends, it gets out of the way, and that knee is able to go all the way across as if it was a double jointed knee, but it functions very well, so you don't really need it. And then the feet here, we'll zoom on into the feet. The feet function very well as well. You've got a beautiful rocker joint, nothing gets in the way there. You can see how that maneuvers all the way, and then you're able to get tiptoes there. Just check that out. Let's go ahead and extend that all the way. You're able to get almost tiptoes there, and then it also goes up until it hits the top, so you get a pretty good amount of going up there as well. And then it also shifts back and forth. That foot will shift back and forth on the inside, so you get some, just an incredible amount, and it turns, it'll turn some, so until it hits the sides of the plastic. So this part is plastic down here, this part is metal. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'll hit it with my ring here. So there we go. He's got an amazing amount of articulation, and we're going to look at all the things that he can do here in just a moment. All right, to measure our super robot Mazinkaiser, let's go ahead and check out his height here. Looks like he measures in exactly at the top of that little drone thing. If you look dead on, it looks like it's just at that 6 7/8, or at the top of his crown. If you were to take off the little drone red part, it would be right at 6 3/4. So that is pretty cool. He's right at that 6.5 scale mark of action figure. He's really good. Now let's look at him aside a few other action figures that we have here and check out his height. Here's another one of my favorite robot figures, which is Gridman by Figma Toys, beside our Mazinkaiser super robot. Here's another cool action figure beside our super robot, which is the Iron Man Mark II by Robotica. Really cool with the light up chest feature there, and he's really neat next to him. Goes along again with the robots and space theme. I love these combinations. And here is our super robot next to Ava 01 in the purple and Ava 02 in the red, and these behemoths are definitely larger than our Mazinkaiser super robot, but they are really cool. These are two that I really wanted to match up with him, and even though they are a bit larger, these two, and they're supposed to be females in the sense that they're biologically both mechanical and organic material, but they are really cool next to him. I still think it measures up well. I think I still match them up, and just, I mean, the Avas are supposed to be big, so that goes well with it. And boy, are they not armed to the teeth. They're still two of my favorite action figures. And I have to say, even these are all metal build, meaning they have die-cast metal in parts, like I'd mentioned about him, and they just match up well together. One of the things I love about these figures, including this new one, is their articulation. Would have liked him to have been a little bit more in scale with these two, but overall I'm going to like that, you know, our Mazinkaiser can go well along with Masters in the Universe and some of the other 6-inch scale and 6.5, 7-inch scale figures. And why not? There is our Mazinkaiser next to Mando and the child, which is Grogu. So that is cool. They look good together and match up well. And that would be a pretty cool matchup. Pretty good, you know, competitive fight, I do say. Wave at us, Grogu. Is it possible King Grayskull has sword envy? Well, I'd say one thing. Our Mazinkaiser super robot definitely has one up on him when it comes to swords as far as size, but there again, King Grayskull does have the power of the Sword of He. And so these match up well, I believe, and they'll go well. I'm going to make my super robot an arch enemy of King Grayskull in my MOTU universe, as well as in my space collection, techno robot type space collection. And here is our Mazinkaiser super robot next to Roboto himself, or at least my customized Roboto. I think they match up well, even though Roboto, of course, a little taller. That's okay. Roboto is large and in charge. I just love my customized Roboto. He's cool. And then, of course, here is a Fortnite robot. Why not match him up next to our super robot here? I think they match up well in size, look really cool together. And don't let Genos from One Punch Man fool you. He is a cyborg that is taking a break from sweeping. That can be a very menacing and powerful cyborg robot himself when called upon in action. He's very powerful. Even though he may be short in stature, this Figma Genos is really cool. Finally, to compare to a Marvel Legends figure, let's look at him beside Kane here from Marvel Legends. Kane matches up pretty well. They're about the same height. Our super robot might be just a tad taller, but really cool, really cool. I've enjoyed these matchups. Really neat. So this is a very brittle and plastic type throne, but it's really nice in its looks. And it has that translucent jewel right here in the back of the seat, and these eye-looking, wing-looking things look like eyes actually. If you get really close to zoom in there, they look like they're looking at you. And so this is just a really cool-looking throne. Give it a spin here with these horn-looking things in the back part, and then look on the back. This is what's really special about this particular thing, is you can store everything right back here. So the first thing we do is plug in these wings to this jetpack here, and so of course you plug them in just as you see there, and then the small ones into these small peg holes there in the back of the backpack, and you just have to line them up just right and they'll slide right on in, as well as these. And these will turn. They are articulated. They'll turn. These will not once they're in place, but these will. So when you get them on your super robot, your Mazinkaiser, you'll be able to turn the wings to get them in the direction you want. Let's set that aside and look at the rest of the installation of the throne. So we're going to turn it around to the guts, as you'd say, and if you'll notice these little pegs at the bottom, there you can store his hands. So you're able to store his hands there, and then this little piece, which is kind of easy to roll away, so we'll go ahead and do this one first, that allows you to hook the two swords together that we looked at earlier. That part pops right into this part below here, so you can store that. Very handy as well. You're also able to store these little devices like the little piece there, and you could even plug in this small tiny little piece that connects the swords into that hole right here, just like so, so you won't lose that little piece. So that's really nice. And then you will be able to do several things that you have options with this sword. You can either just set it in at the top here, which is the way I believe they did it on the box because of how far up, but it does kind of wobble. It doesn't lock into place. If you want it to lock into place, you would need to maneuver that blade through this opening without scratching your sword, which is a little bit cumbersome, and then that can hold right into this part down in here. It holds, and then it doesn't shake as bad, and it still looks good. But then you're going to be wanting to plug in your backpack right into this hole right here in front of your sword, or behind your sword technically. And so you can plug that there, which gives that effect, and then you can simply put your other swords. Let me move the backpack so you can see where they go. But you can place those swords right in here. They just kind of rest in those little slots on the back, and so that gives you that effect. And let's go ahead and plug this back end here, and when we get everything in place, turn it around and you see the really nice look of this throne. Really cool. So it really looks nice, all things plugged in and in place there. Just looks really cool. And as you see, that back sword doesn't stand up as high if you install it that way. That's going to be the harder way to do it, but it doesn't wobble or fall out as easily that way. So you can do it the other way, and then the sword will stand up taller in the back there. So that's how you do that. But you also have the option, if you don't want to do the backpack, say you don't want to put the backpack on the back, let me just show you very quickly how you would do the wings. So say you want to store your wings on the throne without using the backpack, because you're using the backpack on your action figure, you can do that. You have two holes right here, so you just simply peg in those wings on the side of the throne here with the angle going back, and then you have another way of displaying the wings without using the backpack. So that is really neat how that is designed. Bravo, bravo, Good Smile Company. And how all of this functions just is really neat. And of course, like I said, you could put this on the back of your action figure and still have the wings and the jetpack and use the really cool looking throne separately. Just to show you how to install the wings on the back of your action figure, on the back there is a tab, that little black raised up tab right there in the middle of his back, and you can unplug that right there, as you can see, and then you're able to plug this, get it going the right direction. You can plug that right into his back area, just like so. And so now you have his jetpack installed with the first part of his wings, and of course then you would install the rest of the wings here. You're able to plug those right into this section right there, and voila, there you have it. And so you're going to be able to do both of those just like that. One of the things I do wish our Mazinkaiser had come with is a flight stand. You can actually plug this into the holes of his back, and if you have a Good Smile Company stand, which again this one does not come with unfortunately, you can plug it into his back so that you can use a flight stand, and it'll plug right into that bottom, so you can get some cool flight poses without having to clamp it around him. You can actually stick into that hole after you install that. So that's really cool, which would have been nice because then you could have gotten some awesome flight poses with your really cool looking super robot action figure. And we'll take some pictures and look at how all of that functions in our photo gallery at the end of this video. And then as far as his drone, or what I'm calling his drone, which pops out of his helmet here, you have to unplug the wings that are already installed, these tiny little wings, and then you're able to install the larger wing set that comes with it. And when you do that, then you have the full little jet looking drone that can come out of his head and fly and do his bidding, or record something and then bring it back and lock it, download it into his brain, show him things. That's what I'm going to imagine. That'll be a really cool idea. You cannot plug this into his helmet with the longer wings on there, but other than that, it's just really cute, really cool little function. And so when you reinstall the little wings, which plug right in there, then you're able to let him fly back his information and bring it right to your super robot. It'll plug right in. Thank you for checking us out. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And until next time, we will see you in a new video. Here's some photos.